Hello everybody, hope you're doing well, and we are going to be talking about the final chapter of the Act 8 mini Crucible. And the first part of the video, we're going to be going over options, some quick tips, some things and fights to watch out for before going into a Glykkhan. So let's roll some footage and go over some of the things to be concerned about or to watch out for. As we know, we're all using 2 stars for this endeavor. Let's face it, apart from a few kind of like weird, not really kind of like ridiculous nodes, if you've played Act 8 Crucible, you'll know that the mini Crucible doesn't really have the same punch as the rampant amount of nodes that the Act 8 Crucible, the legendary one, has. But for this, you could just use your Fantastic Four Saga-based champions, therefore getting some buffs, boosts, some bonuses from going up against some of these champions. But there's nothing really to concern yourself or be fearful of. I put in the description a setup of champions that will go quite nicely against some of the other options, but let's face it, there is going to be nothing that stands out that's going to be having a fear factor to you. First of all, and I will go over some of them, I'll kind of point out things I kind of feel might be a little bit annoying. Providing you don't use a shifting immunity based bleed or poison champion, going up against America Chavez, you can pretty much use any science-based champion. You could use Spiderman, I use Spiderman, or a Degen interaction-based champion because of Rising Sun. However, just do a heavy attack and you don't need to worry about it. It's as simple as that. Against Howard the Duck, kind of a bit of a different thought process for this. The difficulty with the unblockable in the Act 8 legendary one is a lot more complex than this fight, which quite simply has a Buster Groove. But bringing in either Shock or Incinerate based champion will be able to counter any kind of auto block or evade based abilities. To be honest, just use a Cosmic and either parry heavy or throw an SB3. It's not rocket science. You could use, I'd say an evade based counter or the Shock or the Incinerate based option is normally beneficial, so look to your champions to see if you've got anything like that. I mean, I just used Hulkling. That wasn't the prescribed champion. I just kind of went, well, let's just use it for the sake of it. And it's fine. Don't be so fearful about this one. It's a very kind of easy process to do. Professor X may require you to bring a mist-based counter champion because of the falter elements that you might face off against as part of the champion's kit. Other than that, nothing really to worry about. I used Ultron, but again, nothing really there. There's a whole load of champions that, again, you're facing off against that aren't really kind of scary. Ikaris could be seen as a scary-based champion, but I don't know, let's use a Mystic-based champion. I mean, I used Wiccan. I could have used any kind of Mystic champion to take that down. Yes, Mystic Ascendancy does mean that they receive 30% base attack, and Cosmics receive minus 10% base attack. So, and yeah, with like Mystic Focus and Occult Immunity, is that something to be scared of? Again, not really. Nothing really scary there. Sasquatch, you might need to take on that. It does have Dazed and Confused, so you may want to do a miss counter, and of course Human Torch is always the best one. With the last part of the regeneration may opt for you using a Human Torch. Emma Frost, if you need a, I think inverted control immune champion. I can't remember if this 2-star one was or gets that. It probably does, to be honest. But I ended up using Juggernaut, and of course that ended up being kind of like a good option. I think you could use for this like Mr. Sinister or any champion that's got that kind of inverted controls or reverse control immunity element to that. Valkyrae, nothing to worry about. It's just power shield, so strong power, strong special attack damage. I'd say for Terrax, if you got Absorbing Man, use him. Photon works, and I use Magik, to be honest. I felt Magik was kind of like a good, kind of like, it was an old school option. Omega Red, power control, don't get him to do the SP2. Spot, miss counter. You know, if you got a miss counter, do it, but you probably down the champion by the time you reach there. A buff immunity option, heavy assault based rotation, or a miss based counter. If you got it, use it for Spider-Man Supreme. Auto block counter, use it for the Cat Wilson. I did use Angela, but I felt that maybe I should have used something else. But if you've got Falcon, True Strike, or True Accuracy champion, that could be a good option. And any strong skill-based champion, I personally liked Jabari Panther here. And that's that for the paths. Let's now move on to the bosses. All information right about who I used, and of course suggestions, which is completely down to you who you got as a 2-star. Of course, you know, good luck. Let's go on to Glykhan? No, Glykkhan. So for Glykkhan, I do recommend any kind of skill-based champion that has Prowess as part of its kit. I would have loved to have tried up Cyclops, but instead I opted for more of a Storm-based build. Mutants having access to Prowess is going to be very helpful. It's also going to be helpful to ramp up damage and rotation. And just forewarning, of the fights that I've done, this is probably... Glykkhan is one of my worst. Like, I don't really like the fight particularly well. I do think that there's a lot of stuff wrong with how it's put together, but at the end of the day, I did it, and it wasn't a one-shot. I am not happy about that, because most of these Crucible videos that I've done, all of them have been one-shots, and I've been very happy with that. However, this instance was not the case. I built a team around Storm. I did put in a relic. That's somewhat important, but not completely important, because you can bypass a lot of stages. How you set up, I personally recommend any type of mutant-based champion that has those prowesses quick to access that are normally quite, you know, effective. So yeah, kind of like choose ones that are going to be, you know, easy access to those prowess to do the damage and to be fun. And of course, what you could do is bolster whatever champion you have with synergies to match. So whether I'm like, okay, well, let's put in Apocalypse, let's put in Professor X, let's stimulate more damage around the mutant line, and stuff like that. And of course, special damage is going to be important as well. So let's get you started with phase 1, which you can see on screen right now. I'm trying to do, first of all, the different types of punishment. So information on the punishment. They are as follows. You've got the stun, so the punishment of Stupor, which is the stun, which I started off kind of like putting into orange. I am now working on, I think it's Benality, which is throw a light attack into the Glykkhan's block. Go to the description. I've written up something for you there. But yeah, you're basically just trying to hit into the block. As I said, apologies, it's not going to be the cleanest of fights. This is one of my weakest in terms of fights. I didn't really enjoy it. The Wind of Defiance, not great. It kind of instructs you haven't been evading too well. So yes, try and play well. Also, if you try and repeat certain things, it will mean that that Glykkhan will get that evade, which then will mean that you'll be taking damage as well, because you'll be trying to hit, and it just, yeah, you have to try and like then remove that. And again, try not to repeat the process with anything like, oh, I'm going to stun again. Oh, now you've just got the evade up. Don't do that. Don't be silly like me. However, what you need to do is make those things orange. Top right hand corner. They went orange, didn't they? That's great. And kind of getting an effective rotation in to remove those punishments. The punishments must be removed. So do a stun, right? Or by parrying, of course. Throw a light attack into Glykkhan's block. Intercept Glykkhan twice in a row. Not exactly easy to do. And then you've got to also hit Glykkhan with the first hit of a special attack and land a first hit with a striker. This is why you need to bring in a champion with a striker. You can see right here, I've basically started bypassing a lot of stuff. And then the big kind of like point of this section of this video is that you can like bypass phases by the more of those punishments that you bring down. You can see like now I'm kind of chalking in a load of damage. I'm building prowess. The right hand of the dexterity is the type of prowess applicable to the fight, and the one on the left is applicable to storms as well. I should be noting as well, in this fight, I should be doing more heavy attacks to keep on my prowess. Here we are in phase 2. So it kind of goes to a little cutscene, but you can see that I've just bypassed I think I bypassed the phase. I think, are we now into phase 2? Or just kind of like exited it. It's kind of weird. Like you end up doing like oh yeah, that's it. I have bypassed a phase. This is a different phase. Providing you can do that bypass of a phase, which was cool, by the way, you now have to concentrate on doing what you did to build up the punishments, which get to 3, get to the orange. Now you're trying to bring them down. So you're trying to do things like throwing your striker. Now you've got to make sure that you time things well, because otherwise it's not going to play out. And again, I've bypassed, And this is the thing, if you get your rotations down, you can start bypassing phases. But you just got to start taking things down. I made a mistake there. So yeah, I'm back in with a fight. These things happen. As I said, it's not my favorite of fights, like one of the worst. I thought Behemoth was one of the ones. It's just, I'm just not getting my rotations round. I've done this multiple times on Act 8.4.6, and then the same thing with here. And it's just not sinking in, right? But at the end of the day, using one revive, I suppose, is what it is. So even though I haven't taken down many of the punishments as seen, the process is to get down to 1%. When you get down to 1%, he goes indestructible, you can see right there. And then what you'll have to do is then hit the champion. I think it was with the medium or a light. It's one of those once the indestructible has ended, but it's either with a punishment. We're going to see in a second when that kind of happens. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to do like a punishment or kind of like try to bring the champion a bit down after this special attack. I think I'm going to do a... There we go. Yeah, so it's kind of like punishment of the special attack. And then I'm able to take the champion down. Providing you follow the process and the prompters to take down or to build up based on what is in the description down below, it's a very straightforward fight. It's my weakest, but I thought I'd just do it in any case and go and post a video. But yeah, those have been the champions I used. A few tips around the boss. Just try and do better than me if you can, and do it in one shot rather than using one revive, which of course is what I did. But thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow for a video covering the Crucible Realm event. See ya.